Yes, Andrew can beat Samson
one-on-one.
One-on-one, he can beat him. He's got more detail, and the whole point is, wow, Derek, because his improvement since the Olympia, Andrew's improvement head to toe from the Olympia, and the idea that Samson is the same as he was at the Olympia is inconceivable. He was not in the condition that he was at the Olympia. So should he beat Andrew? Maybe. Would I have him beaten Andrew? Probably not.
How's everything with you? What's going on?
Yeah, I'll call you another time. I'm recording. I have a guy doing a documentary with me.
Jumbo Palumbo.
I'm Dave Palumbo, founder of Species Nutrition. I created Species Nutrition with one mission in mind: to provide bodybuilders and serious athletes with no-nonsense supplements that work and are backed by science. From my earliest bodybuilding days, I believed in only putting the best in my body, and that lives on in the Species Nutrition line of products. We use only top-of-the-line formulations dosed for maximum results and the best flavoring systems available. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution.
Dave Palumbo here for RxMuscle.com. I'm here with the technician Chris Aceto and John Hansen. We're wrapping up the finals for the Classic Physique division and the Men's Open Prejudging. But let's start with the Men's Open because this was one of the most anticipated events of the year. 500 grand up for grabs, and it was a doozy. This was the first Arnold I can remember that all the top 5 guys that we knew were going to be in the show were in absolutely the best shape of their life. Can you remember an Arnold ever?
It was a great lineup. I don't think everyone was in the best shape of their lives, but...
You don't think the top 5 were?
No, I don't think... No.
Who was out of shape?
You tell me who's 5th, and I'll tell you.
All right, top 4. How about that? No, I think Bonak's 5th.
You think...
I think Bonak was in great shape.
Go ahead, John.
Let's go. Let's start with the top 2.
Okay.
It's a clear 2-man race. Well, it's a clear 3-man race. Let's put a 3-man. Andrew Jacked, Samson Dauda, who's the reigning Mr. Olympia, Derek Lunsford, 23 Mr. Olympia. Who'd you like?
I had Derek in first. Derek made a lot of improvements from the Olympia. He looked much fuller and much harder, just popping, more polished. So
who helped that guy?
I think the guy was
the technician did. His legs look like they grew about 3 inches from the Olympia.
They probably grew...
Was it your training system?
3 or 4. They probably did grow 3 inches since the Olympia. He was...
Is it the new Aceto technician training system?
I don't know anything about training. That's what I've been told.
You haven't been told that yet.
I think that the impact Derek had was that there was this odd expectation, 2 things. There was an expectation that his legs would be down, and if they weren't down, that he would not be in shape. Because, he had posted pictures, and oddly enough, like 4 weeks out and 6 weeks out, and people were like, oh, he'll never make it. He looks like he's 10 weeks out, which was odd. And so I think his big impact was that he was big. Not full.
Right.
He was big. He had more muscle mass than he's ever had before.
He was freaky hard, though, too.
Yeah, he was very, very hard as well.
So how do you do that? How do you add size to his body and bring better conditioning?
It's a process. I mean, he ran through the process that I go through.
Well, when I interviewed him at the Meet the Olympians, or at least Meet the Athletes, I should say, he was very vehement that you did something very special to him and that he was not happy with his Olympia prep. He was very unhappy, and he was really voicing it very boisterously and aggressively that he was very unhappy with what he went through for the last Olympia, and that this prep was the best he'd ever had.
Yeah, well, you know me, Dave. I deal with people's bodies, and I didn't have a preconceived idea of what you should be doing or what I should be doing or what I should tell you that I think is best for you. I tried to listen to what his needs were with regards to rest days, diet, just knowing when to put the foot on the gas with the diet, knowing when to back off a little bit, knowing when it was really a leg diet, because the whole time He was obsessed with, because he had all that negative attention about the legs. It's like, I have to keep my legs. And that's why I think when at like 4 or 5 or 6 weeks out, when people saw him, they said, God, he's not going to be ready. His legs were gigantic at 4 and 6 weeks out. Maybe he was a little soft, but they were holding on. And you get to this point where, okay, there's a month left, and they're still big. They're probably not going to fall apart if you kill the cardio. And that was, part of the rolling the dice.
It's sometimes if you do too much for too long, that's when you lose muscle.
That's when you
and
flatten out.
you can't lose muscle in 2-3 weeks, and that's the bottom line. Right. Now, the question is, does Derek beat Samson here and Andrew? And I, in my mind at least, went through the poses, and I had Derek winning the side poses, I had Derek winning the 2 back poses, and I had him winning ab thighs, believe it or not. And Andrew's, that's usually his shot.
Yeah.
What do you think about that analysis?
Yeah, Samson was weak to me in the abs, and I thought the same thing at the Olympia and the prejudging. He looked.
His waist is getting worse, I think.
Yeah, I think he's trying. Maybe he's putting on too much size, but that was his big weak point, was the abs. He's definitely got the size and the fullness, but and Derek to me had the polish, and he had that fullness, he had the hardness, but he won most of the shots. Yeah.
My analysis of the poses, you agree or disagree?
I think that Derek won the obviously back toe bicep, back lat spread. I think he was, the best he's ever been by a mile on the side shots, which was previously a vulnerability with the pec fullness and even the leg fullness from the side. So again, it was that bigger, denser, fuller look. But going back to Samson, I thought that when you said we're the top 5 in condition of their lives, I think Samson had, if you compare him to Andrew and Derek, questionable conditioning.
But isn't that the conditioning that won the Olympia? I think he looks just as good as he did at Olympia, and he's a little bigger.
Well, you weren't going against.
He wasn't going against Derek at his best. Yeah.
And you're not going against Andrew Jack.
Right.
At his best.
Right.
And that Andrew Jack had, I think, a lot more detail everywhere, from head to toe, front and back, than Samson. I think Samson has more roundness, but roundness only carries you so far when you're standing next to a guy equally as tall as you.
Andrew's wide. He's very wide. And he's got probably the best delts in bodybuilding.
Well, he's got shots that if it's a 2-man race, take out Derek, he's got shots that he clearly, in my opinion, beat Samson, Mr. Olympia on. Do
you think if it's a 2-man race between Samson and Andrew, that Andrew wins?
If Derek was not in the show? Yeah. I think that's a coin toss between those two. I think it's a lot closer between those two than a runaway, like, oh, I'm Mr. Olympia and I'm a shoo-in to beat you, because the detail is,
Samson just doesn't bring the conditioning that Andrew does. But you know what the difference is?
I mean, there's criticism about Andrew not bringing in the conditioning, and he did. So if you we're judging what's in front of us this day. However, what we're also weighing to a very secondary degree, but still weighing, is
stress. They're stressed. Almost 6 surgeries in the course of a couple years. Now I'm finally back.
Jumbo Palumbo.
Yes, Andrew can beat Samson
one-on-one.
One-on-one, he can beat him. He's got more detail, and the whole point is, wow, Derek, because his improvement since the Olympia, Andrew's improvement head to toe from the Olympia, and the idea that Samson is the same as he was at the Olympia is inconceivable. He was not in the condition that he was at the Olympia. So should he beat Andrew? Maybe. Would I have him beaten Andrew? Probably not.
I had a little bit of the only problem I had with Andrew Jack, and you can tell me if you agree with this, is that his adductors are very shallow. He's got great quads, he's got glutes, he's got hamstrings that he didn't have before. Yeah. He's got the biggest upper body. I mean, the guy is over 300 pounds. It's pretty obvious. He's got the best delts in bodybuilding. I think that I see this as a deficit when he's standing from the front.
Yeah, he's got such a big structure. He's so tall and he's so wide. So I think he still has some areas to fill out a little, or maybe even the back a little bit more thickness and stuff.
But if he does,
Yeah.
I think he's
I
Mr.
thought-
Olympia.
I thought he probably had the best side tricep up there.
Yeah.
And his ab shot was amazing. So I love his physique because he's so hard and he's so big and he's so wide. So it was definite improvement from the Olympia.
He's a definite work in progress for sure. But
Yeah.
I'm if I had to go on the record, if I'm a betting man, when I first saw Derek, you know what I told you. I said, you did your homework. This guy is going to win this show. I said, he's better than Samson. He's harder than Samson. He's got all the bells and whistles. He's polished. And that's what these judges look for, polish. Samson was Samson the way he was at the Olympia. But at the Olympia, he was the best guy there. That's why he won.
Well, especially on the second day.
Yeah.
Samson made a
Second
lot
day.
of improvement on second.
Yeah, but I'm saying he was the best guy there. That's why he won. Derek was not his best.
Yeah.
And we knew that if Derek came in at his best, that he had a good shot at beating Samson because he beat him the year before.
Yeah, well, in this, the problem is, I mean, the help. I mean, clearly a lot of people talk about Derek, but the help in pushing Samson down would be the Andrew Jack factor.
Right.
This is the idea that it's like 1, 2, 3, and that's the way it's going to go. I think
Tomorrow could be a whole nother show.
I think that tomorrow. I think tomorrow is a rerun in terms of Andrew Jack, and it is a rerun of 2 years ago of Andrew and Samson, where Andrew was third and Samson was first, and Nick was second. But that was the show where I thought Samson was like, in prejudging, and he made a giant step forward for the finals, where when he came out, it was like, this is almost a slam dunk for Samson.
Difference is that Derek's way better than Nick Walker, so I think we're going to see a Derek victory. But we won't know till tomorrow. Let's just talk about the classic division.
Yeah.
Mike Sommerfeld knocks out a Logan Franklin who no one saw coming. This guy wasn't even on the radar. We were talking about Wesley Vissers, who was last year's champion, going up against Sommerfeld. Sommerfeld does win. I thought it was a well-earned victory. Who'd you like?
I liked Logan because I just think he has more of a classic physique. But I thought they were both in peak condition. Sommerfeld looked great. He's a worthy winner for sure. He's a little bit bigger. He's a little thicker. But I thought if you're looking at classic, I think Logan Franklin has a classic physique. And he really brought it this time, like you said.
I said this to you earlier. I said it's funny because Sommerfeld looks like a bodybuilder up there, but he poses like a classic guy, and he bamboozles everyone because. But I mean, the guy doesn't have any weaknesses really.
Mike Sommerfeld looks more like the winner in the routine than the prejudging because he does, as you said, all the classic poses, and he does them very well.
Really?
But in prejudging, he looked great. He's muscular. He's great. He's fantastic. No weaknesses, this and that, and hardness. And I look up and I just think, like, great physique. Just something like, he's not 212. He's not open, but he's just not classic, like, in the mind.
He's got huge legs.
Yeah,
I don't even know how he makes weight.
Of classic. So when you put him next to Logan, who's like tall, not lanky, but like longer arms, and just longer muscle bellies, and
He's got that classic look.
and the midsection, that's different. Not like a powerful midsection. It's almost like slender, but his legs are round. See, John, you love it. And round pecs. Even though he could, to me, he just reflects in my head what classic looks like, and that's why I thought, like, the judges may end up giving him the nod if they're thinking from the perspective of classic.
But this is almost like a deja vu moment of when George Peterson won.
I knew you were going to say that.
The
Deja vu it
classic.
was.
But George didn't pose. George posed like
Yeah,
a bodybuilder,
bodybuilder.
and that's why people were criticizing. Mike has got all the moves down.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and he's a good-looking guy, and he's like he really fits the mold. And I just don't see him. I didn't see him losing here, and he did take home the victory, well deserved. I mean, he pushed Bumstead to the end of the.
He was better at the Olympia.
At the Olympia, yeah,
He was better at the Olympia. So another one who was fantastic here, but he was still better at the Olympia.
Some people thought he was better than Bumstead.
Well, he was better at the Olympia,
Yeah,
and some
but-
people did. Some people did. Look,
I thought he had bumps to beat at the night show.
He might have, from a bodybuilding perspective, but I think once again we go back to structure, and Bumstead, his structure is, I mean, he makes Logan Franklin look like he doesn't have a structure, and so I think that's why Bumstead beat him, but I think Sommerfeld's, can you ever see this guy go into the open division?
No, I don't think he.
No?
I think
212?
Well, I mean, he just won the Arnold Classic.
Yeah,
I
he'll
mean,
probably win the Olympia.
to have something on that.
But he needs to work on refinement. You know, I mean, he's got enough size. So
What would he refine? I mean, the guy is
just
unbelievable.
needs to come in harder. I mean, he's got the smaller waist. He's
Think
got
he
the,
needs to be harder?
yeah, I think so. I think the waist needs to be a little bit harder. Yeah.
What do you think?
Because in the lineup, the waist is not a classic waist. It's,
No,
there's
no.
some
He's got a
some
short torso, too.
There's a power element that throws him completely off. So when he's standing next to, like, Logan, and when he's standing next to in the lineup, he does not look as good, in my opinion, as Matt Grego.
Well, Grego's got also the long, tall, classic
that-
look. Yeah.
It's the classic division.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
when John reflects that, something with the midsection, you say, really, the midsection is because those guys have like a different.
They have a long torso.
Well, they have a longer torso. They have more detailed abs, but they also have like their midsections they look a lot different. It's
They're longer.
outside a shorter torso.
Yeah.
There's the whole element of the torso in terms of V taper and small waist that is reflective and needed in this division is off. So that's the only part.
Does
that's off. When he hits
Sommerfeld-
the front double, it looks really good. Looks classic. Yeah.
Do you think Sommerfeld wins the Olympia?
He's a favorite. I think Ramon will give him a lot of trouble. I mean, he's beaten him once.
Yeah.
Vissers beat him last year, but Vissers, anything can change. Vissers is out of the top 5 here.
What happened to Vissers? He looked small to me.
I heard he was sick.
Was he?
Yeah, that's what his coach said. I think he was sick.
That could be the old Lasix fish.
Flat. He looked like he lost weight. And
Yeah.
He looked off.
I think maybe he wasn't. Yeah, he looks like he wasn't eating enough to me. Yeah. Could it be the Lasix fish? That was Chris's. You coined that expression.
I did. It's they have it in Europe, Lasix fish, but there's a tariff on it now when we import it.
Trump put a big tariff
Yeah.
on it. Yeah. Well, you know what? It was so enjoyable today because not only did we see a men's open division that had guys in tremendous shape. Brandon Curry looks like he's going to finish in that 4th spot with Bonac probably in the 5th position. And we'll find out, obviously, tomorrow night. The Classic division was super exciting. Sommerfeld, narrowly beating out Logan Franklin. And, that's all we could ever hope for when we go to see a show is guys in shape at their best. We saw it here today. I can't wait to see who's going to win the $500,000. But, by the way, Lee Priest made a prediction. Although he stole my prediction. It was really – I said that Arnold will make an announcement that he's going to give away $1 million. Lee Priest kind of parroted that, put that online.
The prediction, Dave, was my prediction, which was that Arnold's just going to pull out of his wallet some type of check and just say, here's what I'm actually giving you. And that was
Oh, you think he's going to raise it here? I think it'll be for next year. He's going to
Dave,
say $1 million.
man, I think you got dementia. I don't know how many times I've
No,
told you
you-
like,
you
on the show explicitly, exactly, like
He's very
not,
angry.
Not
He's got
only
a very
not
angry
only
attitude.
because I have Lee Priest. Lee Priest.
Yeah.
Wait, ask him where you get that from.
Well, I said $1 million. You said he was going to open his wallet. You didn't say $1 million.
Yeah.
I said Arnold should just pull out and say, I'm going to give $1 million. And then the battle's over, right?
Yeah.
We'll be back again tomorrow night to let you know exactly how much money the men's overall champ is going to win here at the Arnold Classic, but it's going to be at least $500,000. I'm Dave Palumbo with Chris Aceto and John Hansen. See you next time.